Hello everyone and welcome to a league wrap-up. If you haven't seen my videos before, you're not familiar with this, what's going to happen, I'll go over this deck list, what I'm going to be playing, and then I will stop recording. I will play the league, the first match of the league, and then after that first match is completely done, I'll use the history feature of Magic Online to replay the game, giving commentary, and going over decisions, fast forwarding through the slower parts, and then spending some extra time on some of the important decision making parts. And then after I record that, I'll stop recording and I'll play the next match, and then I'll get through the entire league that way. So it's a Toronto weekend, so I've got access to all the cards. And with that, I'm going to decide to play turns. So this deck tries to get fires out, and then it just plays some of the taking turns cards. Savor, the moment is you skip your untap step, but when you're just casting cards through fires, skipping your untap step doesn't really matter too much. And then you get to time warp, just take an extra turn. Nexus is a good one that shuffles back in. It is higher on the curve, it's at 7, so it is a little bit more difficult to get off, especially from fires, which only costs 4. You need to get a few more extra turns and make some extra land drops to get up to that 7 mana. And we use Ral, Storm Conduct, to try to copy our spells so we can try to get 2 extra turns off of just 1 time warp. That allows us to do 1 turn of just playing some of our spells to try to find the second time-taking effects, and then the turn of playing our time-taking effect and copying it. And then also the dealing 1 point of damage is one of the potential win cons, is just playing enough spells that we take them down to 0. And that's about the main theme. Some of the cards that help us get to where we're trying to do, search for Azcanta. Once we get to flip that, since we're not spending our mana to actually play spells, it's a good opportunity to use Azcanta to just try to find some of those time-taking effects. We also use our mana for Castle, scrying 2, trying to find those time-taking effects. CERN Visions is a good early way to try to find our fires. Card draw, scrying, getting us, either the fires or whatever whatever we need. Narset, it's a good 3-drop to try to get us to either fires. Once it's on the battlefield, that's one that we get to play. Use it twice to hopefully find 2 helpful cards. Jace is actually one I've tried in this. Jace Mirror Mage, he's been doing really well in this deck. That scrying 2, and then playing it, if you kick it, you do have to pay the 2 even if you cast it through fire, but it's, 2 mana is not bad. So playing that, getting 2 of these, being able to scry, helping us find the cards, and then maybe if we need draw a land or draw after enough turns, when this has enough counters, we can actually start using it to draw some cards. Jason Mind Sculptor is really good in this. Allows us, that's one of the other win cons we have, just plus this up, use it to basically scry our top of our library, and eventually get up to 12 where we can exile their cards and then mill them out. And Archmage's Charm's another really good one for this, because before we get fires, it's good potential to counter something that they have going on to try to get us to live to turn 4, drawing 2 cards to try to get us to fire, try to get us to one of the time takings, or gaining control of a non-land permanent can also help us actually get to the point where we have 4 mana and can start trying to go off. One of the good things about this though is that versatility of once I have fires, the counter target spell doesn't really become too relevant, which is also why I'm not playing any kind of remands or counter spells or anything that just counters, because once you get fires out, they are not good anymore. So some of these versatile things, like the Charm and Izzet Charm, as well as another counter spell, that once I have that out, it still has other modes. I can still use it to draw 2 cards and discard, try to loot through the deck. So Fire and Ice is another, good versatile. I can use Ice to try to set up, tap down the mana to have better chance of my fires resolving. I can use Fire to try to kill some of the smaller creatures to try to actually live to where I get to combo off. And sideboard, I already talked about the Izzet Charm being a counterspell I can put in. Primal commands, mainly against Void Mirror. That card seems like it would really hurt when I'm trying to cast all my spells for free, and it counters free spells. So this can destroy an artifact, and it's got the versatility, so it could also loot. Treasure tokens, not really too important. Not really using the mana, more so just want the land, so it's mainly just destroying artifacts. But maybe the 2 damage can be relevant, and maybe the looting can be relevant. So Blood Moon, it does actually kind of hurt this deck, but there's decks that it hurts more. So siding in Blood Moon's mainly just against Primeval Titans or decks that really, or Tron, ones that are going to be hurt more by Blood Moon than I will, because I do use my lands for castles. Turning off castle does make it harder to loot through the deck. Turning off Mikukoro and turning off the Azcantas does hurt. So they are only to side in when they're going to hurt them more than me. Anger's really good to try to help survive. Relics for some graveyard reanimating decks. Dredge, or some of those that just go really fast that hopefully a early relic can slow them down. And then got the 4th Lightning Bolt, again against aggressive decks. I just want some more early interaction, try to actually survive long enough to get up the fires. So that's the deck that I will be playing. I have not actually played this in a league yet, so this will be my first league with this deck. I will post this video regardless if I do, so if it's a good 5-0 trophy, 0-4 drop, or anything in between, I will be posting this. So, with that, I'll get on to the first match. Game 1 of match 1. Lost a die roll, so we're on the draw. They are a Loris deck. Okay, starting hand here. Turn 2 Azcanta. Hopefully, he can start helping us get to some good cards. The turn 1 Thoughtseize taken away our search for Azcantas. So this deck is kind of frilky, so Thoughtseize can really tear the game plan apart. Draw into a second Archmage's Charm. Not quite what we want. We want some early drop things. Nether Thoughtseize, just continue to poke away at our hands. Land's good. Get us where we eventually really need the fires to start getting us going. Then spending the turn 3 to bring lowers to hand's pretty good for us. It's not a lot going on over there then. Fire and Ice is good. A way to deal with that lower stuff they just brought to their hands. Can easily fire it. Alright, there's a Bobble. Play that, then probably play Loris and bring it back. They don't, so they actually just pass the turn here after they bobble themselves. So just going to draw 2 cards, 2 more lands, not what we were running. Draw another land for the turn, so definitely not looking good. They took away some of our helpful cards to try to get where we want to get, and now we're just getting lands. So yeah, 3 lands in a row. Alright, Dash and Regivan, that's actually good for us because we can easily fire this and deal 1 point to him. And then another Regivan. Not too bad. And draw into a 4th land in a row. At this point, the time walk as just basically an explore, play an extra land and draw a card is going to be the best option here. So just trying to thin the deck of as many lands, trying to use these fetch lands when I can. I have plenty of life to use them too, just searching up basics to conserve life even more. Alright, so draw into the 4th land in a row. Play my fetch land to hopefully try to thin some more of these lands. Actually going to be able to cast Nexus of Fate next turn. I'm going to have the 7 lands for that, so that'll be another basically explore. Alright, they get one of our other lands, so that would have been a 5th land in a row, so thank your opponent for getting rid of that land with the Regivan. And here's a kicked Torach Dread Cantor. Can make me discard 2 random cards, hopefully 2 lands, but of course it's not. There goes our Nexus of Fate. So really not too much options of things to draw. 6th land in a row is not what we wanted to draw. At least this land is a utility land, so it does something, unlike the last ones we've been drawing. And it is pretty cool with Regivan, so he attacks here with the Regivan. Then I get to scry, and I get to choose what he is going to get with Regivan. So there's a 7th land in a row now. We'll put that for the Regivan target, so I'll put that on top, and I'll put the Narset under that, because Narset could be potentially good here. Get us some extra cards, try to get us back. I mean, this isn't looking good either way, any way you look at it. We're dead. Yeah, that puts lethal on the board, so we're dead next turn if we don't deal with their board. So need like a bolt. If we get a bolt and they don't have some kind of really good interaction, like a double bolt themselves or something, that's about the only way we're getting out of this. So here's the Narset to give us a chance into that bolt. Looking at 4 cards. There is not a bolt there. So can take the Jace, can bounce something. I could bounce the Torach. Fires doesn't do anything because I don't have another card to cast. A second Narset could give us another 4 looks at another bolt. We do have the lands to do that, so that would be not a terrible choice. But the Time Warp will give us another draw and another activation of the Narset we already have. So and we have the 5 mana to play it, so we'll play the Time Warp. And they have the Unholy Heath, so that kind of hinders that plan a little bit. And then I probably should have scryed there during my upkeep. I forgot to stop to add the yields. I could have had a little bit of a chance to scry and try to find that bolt. Still don't think we're getting out of that. They got a lot going on. Loros can just bring back Bauble and try to find the bolt if they didn't already, their own bolt if they didn't already have it, and that's 5. Puts me down to 4. Like it, yeah. There's definitely still a lot of things he could have done. So could have maybe found something, but not really likely. So yeah, you can see there. And moving to game 2. Game 2 against Loros Black Red. Sideboarding is a little difficult. Didn't exactly know what to take out, so ended up taking out the Narsets. They may get 1 activation, and that's about it. Not a great use of 3 mana. Then took out Fire and Ices. They are really good against the Regavan, but they're just one of the worst cards, so it ended up cutting it. And then had to just cut 1 more card, so cut the Charm. It's a 3 mana. It's actually really good, but again, just really hard to try to figure out what cards to cut to put in the 1 more extra bolts, the 3 angers. Also, Anger of God kind of deals with a lot of what Fire and Ice does too, so that wasn't too bad to take those out in place of the angers. And then, yeah, so that's the sideboard. So we get to be in the play because we lost. Okay, starting hands, start the Lightning Bolt for the turn 1 Regavan, or whatever early drop they have. We got both the fires and 1 piece of taking extra turn effect, so yeah, it's no early game like card draw or search or anything like that, but does kind of hurt a little bit to the turn 1 Thoughtseize because they can get rid of our fire. So turn 1 Den does not mean turn 1 Thoughtseize though, so that's good for us. And just going to get out this Steam Vents. And they look at our top card. They see the Jace that we drew. Just again playing our fetch lands, trying to thin the deck of lands. Double black for the Voidwalker. Pretty good just bolt target here. Get rid of that before they start making us discard and get to play cards from our hands. Just getting out these Steam Vents, giving us our colors. Okay, got our 4th land, that's good. Gonna go and play out the Jace here. It could hold it to try to do the kicker later, but if I get it out now, it doesn't die to the Unholy Heath because he doesn't have Delirium yet. It doesn't die to Bolt, so getting it out now for after fires, hopefully it can help set up some fire churn. So with him still not Thoughtseize to me yet, I'm still kind of afraid of the Thoughtseize. I'm going to put the fires on top and the island on top as well. And I probably should have done that in the other order. I didn't want to have 2 fires in my hand. But he does have the Dash and Regavan, which would have even been better to kept the other fire on top. So now he gets rid of my island. Either one that he would have got rid of he wouldn't have been able to cast, so not too big of a deal. Alright, so now I get to draw the fires that I didn't want to draw because I was expecting the Thoughtseize. I put it a little further down so I could scry it away. If he didn't Thoughtseize me, I could scry it away. If he did Thoughtseize, I could just leave it on top. That's why I put it second on bottom. But with the Regavan getting the islands, I ended up drawing it, so that foiled that plan. Go ahead and play out the fires. Play Savior. And then a Scry here. Definitely want to keep the second Savior. Second Jace is okay if I can get an untapped turn. Yeah, I ended up putting that on top, so I go ahead and draw the second Jace that I know is there, play that, and then play out the Jace. I don't quite, no, I don't play out the Jace, that's right, okay. Yeah, so now I just minus draw the extra card, and I get Kranos, which is good here, except for I don't have 5 lands, so I gotta try to find more lands. So play Jace. I got a minus because I'm really trying to find that lands. I don't find the land, I find the Survisions, which still doesn't find me the lands, but it does at least get to Scry 2, so next turn I can get that land. Still really not where I want to be, and I know he has that Regavan, so keeping both lands on top, dashes in the Regavan, gets to swing. He hits my land. Crux is fine. I have all these fires I don't mind discarding at all. He's not in a color that's going to deal with fires, the one I already have out, so. He plays out his second Regavan. Alright, so I draw my 5th land. Scry 2 more lands. I do actually want these lands because I want to get to this Nexus. So I play the Kranos. Bolt his Regavan. Just pass. Alright, he gets to make me discard 2. So again, this Nexus just ends up getting discarded, ends up shuffling. So those lands I kept on top get shuffled away, which is actually fine because I don't want them anymore now that I don't have Nexus. I draw Anger. So I could deal the 3 to him and then cast the Anger, but I kind of just want to save this Anger in my hand. Especially if he's going to flashback this Croxa, I want to have the card in hand I can discard to save some damage, so. I definitely want the Saver at the moment. I don't really want the island, so put the island on bottom, Saver on top. I am kind of afraid if he does get the Dash and Regavan, he is going to get my Saver the moment, but Saver is not really going to do him too much good, especially if he's attacking with the Regavan. Or it dashes or return back to his hand, so that could be a pretty cool thing. But he's just going to play the Croxa from his graveyard. I'm going to have to discard Anger. So I get to take another turn, deal 3 damage to him. Cruxa does do pretty well here. Get to take another turn. And scrying 2 each time to try to help my draws. I really need cards there, so that's I just zero Jace's ability there, and I get another land. He's going to attack for basically 9. because I don't have a card to discard. I need to play this search because I really need it to flip. And then he also animates his den, so he swings for 13, I think it is. Yes, 13. Which puts me down to 1. Alright, so... And... he just plays out more threats. I mean, anger still kills that, but... yeah, at this point, I'm not so much worried about trying to deal with his board as trying to deal with his life total. So go ahead and search for his Kanta. Charm's good here. I can get, after scrying for 2 and then drawing 2, I get some good options of a lot of different things to look at. Also get to flip as Kanta, so starting with this search for his Kanta, because I don't want to scry and then search. I do hit the Savior, which is good. It does give me another chance. Want to put the Jace on top, Saver, and then I still want to use the best of my turn here, so I play out the Charm as well to draw 2. So he's down to 7. I don't hit the non-land there, which would have been good because that would have triggered 3 more damage, putting him that much closer. Instead, I just draw 2 lands and 2 more lands on top. Put both of those on bottom. Play Jace. I'm really trying to find another time-taking effect. Nexus of Fate would be really good. Just some kind of time-taking effect that will help me get. So I draw 2 more lands and a Certain Vision. So a lot of lands this game. Put 2 lands on top. I can draw a card with Certain Visions, but I know it's a land. Can activate the Tauren to shuffle that, but I'm at 1 life, so that kills me. So I ended up just doing it anyway, drawing the land, scrying some cards bottom, playing the land, attacking. It's not even lethal, but he still blocks it, which I guess was probably why he played that. He played it as a blocker for my 6/5, and then GG's and just sacked a Scalding Turn. So looking at how this performed this game, it could actually be worth it to be in the main deck. Like, it is a good win condition to actually be drawing the extra cards, drawing the extra lands, which can help with discarding to some of the looting effects. Like, this could actually be oh, and it's just a 6/5 indestructible that between the Jaces is not too difficult to turn off or turn to get devotion. So did end up losing, kind of close. I mean, just needed a couple of extra turns there and could have had Kronos get in for the win, but we'll go to the next match. Match number 2. Again, we lost a die roll, so we'll be on the play. Okay, starting hand here. Never like having Nexus in the opener, but it's got lands, it's got fire, ice, which might be able to help. So maybe just go with the Jace game plan too. And they're Hamlet, so don't know if that's good or bad for us. Narset's a good draw. It's going to help us find what we're looking for. Second Amlet is definitely looking like it could be. Okay, so it's not the turn 2 win. And now the good thing, being an Amlet player myself, I know this deck. So as long as I have this fire and ice in my hands, they cannot kill me with the double striking Titan. They can kill me with the Dryad Valakut, so that is definitely a thing to be scared about. they named the Dryads on the Cavern. So they are playing Cavern. They're definitely fearing the counters here. Certain Visions, putting both of those on bottom, but I don't need a Bolt. Bolt doesn't kill anything, and don't need a Netherlands. They're playing super cautious. They're not even attacking with a Dryad. Like, that's some extra points of damage they could be getting in. I don't know what they fear. Maybe they think I'm going to swing back with a Regavan, so they're keeping that up as a blocker. I mean, this mana base doesn't quite show them a Regavan deck, but this isn't a regular deck, so they just don't really know. I could cast Fires here, but I don't have any good spell to cast after Fires, and I really just want to save up this Fire and Ice, and nothing else. Saving up my mana is going to bluff into having a counterspell. So they're going to play more cautiously, and the more time I have to set up, the better. Until they get to the point where they're going to just kill me with Valka. That's when it's going to start getting scary. So I do have to act before that point, but I'm in no huge rush. So now that I have 5 mana, I have enough to both play a spell and still save up that Fire Ice. So I'm going to play out the Narset. Get another Fire is not exactly what I want. Do not need 2 Fires. Also, kind of reveals a little bit of what I'm trying to do to my opponent. I don't really want them to get an idea. So now they do attack at the Narset, so I won't be able to use it again. And they're still just playing really cautious over there. They got a Saga out, or maybe they're not cautious. Maybe they're just, I don't know. They have a handful of non-land spells, and they kept it because of double Amulet. So another Jace. Again, still have the 3 mana. I'm not going to kick it because I am saving this Fire and Ice. I will play it. Scry. That's a really good Scry. A Time Warp and a Ral. So that is exactly what I was hoping to get. So that is definitely a keep. And now I'm getting closer to this Nexus. I am 1 land away from this Nexus as well. So it's definitely looking like next turn is going to be, as long as I get a next turn, will be my turn to start going off. Alright, so we mix the constructs, float some mana, he gets some maps for Simic Growth Chamber, so maybe he was just missing the land, and there's that Simic Growth, so he's going to play it, float a ton of mana, click to fast here, he's going to cast a Primeval Titan, uncounterable, not that I was going to counter it anyway. He's going to get the double strike land here, or sorry, he's going to get the haste land here. Gonna let him do all of his triggers. He doesn't get the Boris Garrison, so he can't give 2 things to buff. Which is probably the right thing to do. I mean, he's assuming that he gets attack. The Valakut's going to be more beneficial than the 1 extra buff. But I get to ice here after he's already targeted with Stranglehold, so he can't change his target to something else, but before he gets to combat. And then he finishes off my Narset and does 3 points of damage to me. Use a Grazer for a ton more mana. Okay, no, just for a second Valakut, which does kill off my Jace. Kind of sad about that. I like Jace. And just gets in for 5 here, so I guess now he's got the Grazer as a backup blocker, so now he's getting in. Alright, so I drew Time Warp off the ice, and then I drew my Ralph for the turn. So I want to get out the Fires here, get another turn. I can't do anything else this turn, so untap here, Sweet, drew my lands, just what I needed to play Ral, minus, Nexus, make a copy of Nexus. I'll get 2 extra turns after this. Nexus shuffles back in. Now that Nexus is shuffled in, I'm gonna thin my deck with the Scrying Tarn, shuffle, and I'm gonna scry. See what I can find with the scry. I find Searches, definitely a good card to get. Jace, I already have a Jace. I don't need a double Jace, so put that on bottom. I guess Jason Mind Sculptor. Playing multiple Jaces, probably should specify that. Scry one here. Charm is good. It's some nice cards. I like cards. I like drawing them, getting a lot of them. So, play Jace, make the copy of it. Play another Jace, different Jace, Mirror Mage and Mind Sculptor. So that's Nexus and Charm. I probably should have used the other Jace first, and then maybe minus this Jace and got the Charm. But I like both these cards, so just keep plussing these up, and then look at his top card. It's fine. Doesn't matter because hopefully he shouldn't be getting another turn. And then I also have this castle I could scry and look at those top 2 cards again, but I still like them. So, alright, so minus. I do want that charm before I shuffle with Nexus. So, or I guess I don't. Okay, I thought I was gonna minus to draw that card first, but okay, he concedes. So I wasn't deterministic at that point. Like I still had quite a while to go to actually deal 16 to him. I mean, Jace, I was starting to plus up to where I could actually minus Jace and target myself with Nexus of Fate and just cast Nexus of Fate every single turn. Because I can have only like 3 cards in hand, and between the scries and everything, make sure that Nexus is the one card I draw. And just cast it, deal point, cast it, deal point. So Jace actually does work in that way if I don't even want to give them, since he's 3 cards left in hands. That means he would have had 3 cards left in the library, so yeah, could eventually get it that way, but it was a whiles away, so it seemed like a kind of early of a concede, but don't mind it. Good to go to game 2. Game 2 against Amulet Titan. As I was saying before, Blood Moon. This is one of those matchups that Blood Moon is going to hurt them so much more than it's going to hurt me. So bolts are not good against this deck. They don't. I could double bolts and kill a Titan, or double kill bolt and kill Dryad, but they're just not really worth it in this matchup. So bolts out, Blood Moon's in. Scanta came out. And I'm trying to blank on what it was, what the other card I was, what other card I put in. Oh wait, okay, yeah, 3 bolts in search I took out for 4 blood moons. That's what it was. Okay, so we are on the draw because we won. This is a fine hand. It's got turn 1 Serum Visions. Not really a good turn 2, but turn 3 we get Charm, which we can use to counter spell or draw some cards and try to find what we're looking for. So turn 1 Amulet again. Very typical of the Amulet deck. Another lands. At least these lands are going to help us search out basics. Of course, with Blood Moon being in our deck, we are searching out as many basics as we can. With the fires, I mean, we can play triple blue spells with only mountains. Not an issue, so still good to get the basics for when we don't have fires, but it's not too relevant. With that scry, I want to keep that card on top, so I ended up not playing the Tarn there. I'm going to play it next turn to get the basic out in. They're got their not a very good Amlet start. Besides a turn 1 Amlet, no turn 3 drop. There's still 5 cards in hand. Alright, go and play out the Blood Moon. You got a map. And then the fact they cracked a map for the Simic Growth Chamber there really looks like they're setting up for the Force of Vigor. Really would like to have had that third island to be able to save up for the Mage, the Archmage's Charm, and just have countered his force, because I know this deck, it does not handle well against Blood Moon. Like, forcing the Blood Moon is what you have to do. And especially with that setup where you can Titan next turn. So I didn't draw it though, so now I could just try to continue to play around the force. I'm pretty sure he has. I do end up just playing the fires. Not exactly good, because now he does get to double force. He gets 2 targets for his force, which is not necessarily good. But I do get to play fires and get a saver at the moment, and then yeah, of course there it is. But at least make him use the force. It did also get rid of the Colossus. As I said, it would have been much better to have been able to charm it. It still would have been a good 2-for-1, and still had Blood Moon, but couldn't exactly do that. I could have just played the fires past, and then hope that he tries to force, and then charmed it when he tried to force it, because he can only play force on my turn. I don't know. It could have been the play. Seemed kind of like a waste of a turn though. I guess either way, it really didn't do much for a turn. And then here, of course, actually, yeah, he didn't have the Titan or anything follow up, which was really good. Maybe even more so a reason I should have just played it more safe and just played the fires and pass, keeping up that charm. Alright, now I get to Flow Strand, get out more islands, play the Search, and then play the Jace, finding Nexus. I'm too far away, and Saver. At the moment, I already have 2 extra turn spells. I really just want to find the other fires to try to start going off, so put both of those on bottom. Okay, that's definitely scary. He's got the double ammo again, and now he's got the transmute, so again, if I still would have had the Blood Moon on the battlefield, this would be looking so much better for me, but now it's definitely looking scary. I have the Charm. He doesn't have the Cavern of Souls yet, so there's that potential. I think click a little faster, but in the Scarring Tarns on the graveyard from the Azcanta, and then drew into Castle. So still getting a little heavy on lands. Steam Vents, don't need more lands. Fire and Ice is good, because now I can tap down his Titan, kind of like I did before. I got the Charm to counter, or to draw into the Fire. I could also Azcanta to get into the Fire and Ice. So, again, with all those plays and everything, I just have to Pact Resolve. And he's got the Cultivator Colossus. And then he did have the Cavern. So maybe I should have countered the Pact. I don't know. But, I mean, this doesn't win him the game, so it doesn't have haste or anything. I have to hope he doesn't hit the haste. He ends up drawing 3 cards, putting 3 lands in. One of them being Valakut. No haste land though. It is a lot of mana, especially with double Amulet, so he just draws so much, or gets so much. Yeah, he spent 7 and he got 8 mana out of it, so looking pretty good for that card. There's a Dryad, which is not good with all the Valakut triggers. And then he got to return the Cavern to his hands. And then, yeah, he's got the Titan too. So at this point, even if I tap down he's got the Amulets, he's got the haste lands, he's got the Valakuts. Even if I tap down his Primeval Titan, yeah, he doesn't even need to attack. Like, he can go get Valakut plus Vesuva, deal a bunch of damage to me with the triggers. Plus, he's got the Heath that he hasn't even activated yet, so you can still sacrifice that, get another lands. He's got lethal on the board with just the Dryad, so yeah, scoop that one up and go to game 3. Third game against Amulet Titan. No changes to sideboard plan. I always do hate it against playing this deck because as a Titan player, I'm always rooting for Titan. So when I'm playing against it, I'm still rooting for them a little bit. As much as I do want to win, I do like to see Titan do well. So get to be on the play of this game. Get to keep this hands. Good. Hopefully Certain Visions can find us something. Drew us a lands with another Certain Vision. Don't really want to Jace, so put that on the bottom. And second Certain Visions is good. I'd help dig a little deeper to try to find what we're looking for. This deck does a lot of trying to find what we're looking for. Alright, 2 Time Warps. Not what we're looking for. Put both of those on bottom. Already have 2 time taken effects. We do eventually want those, just not quite right now. So I am not playing this Flight String because I just put 3 cards I don't want to draw on the bottom. So thinning my deck of land actually shuffles those 3 cards and increases the chances of that. So it's actually worse as far as thinning right now. I will eventually, yeah. So here, I just want to make sure I'm getting those basics. So I do play the Flight String out. I'm gonna end up shuffling those 3 cards I put on bottom, but yeah, just pass. I got both the Counter Magic up and the Fire and Ice up. Pretty good against a lot of what he can do. Alright, so as I said, getting at the basic lands. I could actually charm his Amulets, but I really care more about trying to do my thing more than I care about trying to sabotage his thing. So just go and draw 2 cards, try to find my outs. Drew 2 lands. So at least those are gone. Fires is good, especially with already having the 2 taking time effects. So play out Fires and play out one of the taking time effects and see how far I can loop this. And with the Force of Vigor, exiling the Summer's Pact, not very much. So yeah, Force is really good against Fires. kind of fortunate. Basically, well, I mean, I did 2 cards for 2 cards. Got to draw an extra card, play an extra lands. Not the worst exchange. He's still not doing too much over there. Floating some mana. Alright, so Paxman Azusa. And then this actually only is going to net him 5 mana here. So he needs like a Grazer or something else here that he ends up just not having. But he does do a second pact, which is really risky because that's a lot of mana to have to pay during upkeep to not lose a game. That's 2 packs, that's 8 mana. Yeah, here's Titan. And I don't have enough for this Fire and Ice, so just hoping I'm not dead. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the double amulet, so he can't kill me here. I guess it's just a matter of he's got to also do it carefully so he can try to have the mana to pay his packs. Alright, and then he searches up to double force, so he does actually have the mana to pay his double packs, but if I can get a Blood Moon, which I have a couple of draws at, if I don't draw Blood Moon, I can ice something. Unfortunately, I can't really use ice to stop him from paying his pack because he gets to because you have to pay it during your upkeep. If I tap his mana during his upkeep, he can just tap in a response. So yeah, I need to try to find an answer here. Fires might not be bad because I can try to combo off with Saver. But yeah, Taking Turns. I still have enough red here. Just gonna thin my deck, try to get my basics, and hope for a Blood Moon. And yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Top deck Blood Moon, and then unluckily he does have the Force. But luckily, doesn't have the green card. So here during his upkeep, he spends 4 mana to hardcast the Force of Vigor. So he had the Force, he just didn't have that green card to exile. And then spending 4 of his mana to play the Force, he doesn't even have 8 mana. And then I gotta ice his Simic in response. That way he has to tap it in response, and you can only tap it for red rather than for 2. But he ends up conceding because, I mean, even without that play, he still can't pay his pack, so he loses. It's really risky as an Amulet Titan player. Like, it's really risky to do this double pact against a Blood Moon deck. He didn't see, like, really if that was a counter magic deck or not, but even having the Force open, it's still risky. Like, if you even had the other green card, yeah, it's an easy way to lose the game to your own pact to Blood Moon. So, yeah, really risky play there. I don't know, maybe he miscalculated. He thought he was going to have enough to Titan. He didn't intend on having to do the second pact. That would have made a little sense because he may have been wanting to hold the pact up for the Force, but after miscalculating and then having to use the pact to get the Grazer to still play the Titan, yeah, maybe it was just a recovery from the mistake. So, I don't know. It's a tough deck to play, I think. And that's why. But we ended up winning against Amulet Titan. So 1-1 in the current league. On to match number 3. Again, we lose at die rolls, so we're 0-3 in die rolls. Another Loris deck. This is a pretty questionable hand. It's only got 2 lands. Hopefully this turn visions will help us find another land. It's very questionable because these also come play tapped, but we are on the play, so we get an extra hope to just find that land. So we're gonna try it. It's got everything that we need. Double fires, or it's got fires, a backup one, I guess. It's a Thoughtseize, a Saver, plus Row. So I mean, all we need is a land. All right. So Plains, Giver, and it's a Loris deck. Probably Hammer. We did draw the island, which is awesome. So now we get to Storm Visions, put the Lightning Bolt, and another Taking Time. So we are pretty much set up. So just got to actually get to turn 4, and this should be an easy win. Between the 2 Taking Time effects, we already have the Row. There's a lot of opportunities to go infinite, or not quite infinite, but you know, kill. So half the Lightning Bolt to Giver. It can't protect itself. It can protect anything else. So let's kill it. Hopefully slow them down a little. All they have this turn is a construct, which is good. Alright, so there's the Saver, the moment that we put on top. Fortunately, we have no interaction to do anything with what they have, so we just have to hope for the best. Hopefully they make a construct here. If they don't, it's bad for us that they have better things to use a mana on. And yeah, it's the Pierce Stone. So that's the deck. They got their turn 4. They won on turn 4. They got it before we did. We would have won if we got to be on the play. So I mean that's just the nature of it. Yeah, there's a second cost is Hammer to just overkill. So really unfortunate. If we went first, our turn 4, we would have won. But they won the die roll, so they got to win on turn 4 before we did. Oh well, unfortunate. So this time we get to be on the play. Sideboarded. Again, it was tough to decide what to take out. Put in the 4 Angers. Put in the 3 Angers. Put in 1 more Bolts. Put in the other Charm to try, hopefully kill some of their artifacts. Took out just some of the slower things. I mean, Narset, not very. It's just one of the slower cards. Search is also, it's one of our good turn 2 plays, but they're such a fast deck. We just want to be doing things faster. And then Charm's also really good against him because we can steal their constructs and things, but we can't take too much of our main core of the deck out. So Charm, I don't know. It's really good against him, but it seems like one of the worst cards. So alright. Only 2 lands. Bolts, maybe. I mean, we can bolt the early thing, and then if we can get our 3rd land, we can Anger, and hopefully stall us to, if it's a 3rd land that's also blue, Mage, Archmage is charmed, draw some extra cards, so it's not bad. Go and lead off on the. It's not worth shocking. Like, they don't have anything in their deck worth shocking in and bolting on turn 1. We don't have a turn 2 play right now anyway, so just bolting on turn 2, preserving our life total. Alright, Sentinel. Fire and Ice isn't bad. Can just kill the Sentinel now, but I really, it'll die to this Anger, so I kind of want to just save this up as spot removal. Hopefully they play 1 or 2 more creatures, and then can just sweep them up with this Anger. and save these for more of their spot removals, clean up after the anger. Okay, so here we go. A good 2-for-1 with this anger here, killing the Sentinel. They're really good to draw a card off the Sentinel, and that's not a land. That is our Prismari command. Good card. I mean, it's going to destroy an artifact and deal 2 damage if we have the 3rd land to do that with. Yeah, that is. We had a few draws to get a land. I guess it was 2 draws to get a land. We do play a fair number of lands, so not the most unlikely thing to draw land. Alright, so they're not doing anything, probably just going to make a Saga token. I'm going to go and ice them down, try to force them to make the token now, so that this anger will be able to sweep up the token. It'll be a 3/3, and yeah, this anger will clean up nicely. So, and I just really want to draw a card because I need to get that 3rd land. And 2 more cards, and so we're 4 cards in now. Did not see a land. Going Visions here, not paying it. I mean, we need this. We are drawing land, so we need this mana. Alright, so we drew a Jace, not one of our lands, and then coming up next turn, we have 2 lands. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a next turn. We are just too far behind. You can bolt this construct token, but they just get to get a Colossus Hammer, and of course they have the Paladin again, because, you know, they can draw Paladins better than we can draw lands, and they animate, equips, attack us, kills, 11 infect, you know, kills us. So, would have been a lot better with a 3rd land to be able to actually play some of these interactive things and, you know, do something about the board state, but unfortunately that was just game 1. We were just lost to die rolls, so they got a turn before we did on their turn 4, and then game 2, where we actually got to be on the play, did not see our 3rd lands, and just, you know, just fell behind by missing land drops, so unfortunate. 4th match of the round, lost a die roll again. 0 for 4 dice rolls. Alright, so they are playing Kahari the Wolfengard as their companion. So this is a questionable hand to keep against it. It's probably some kind of control or elemental. I mean, it could be a few different things with that companion. But this hand, I mean, especially after that last one, getting stuck on 2 lands is questionable, but what's the odds of it happening twice in a row? We'll keep this. Turn 1, nothing. Alright, look at that, we already got the land. Already doing better than the last game. Definitely makes this hand good. So, no reason to shock that in, no reason to hold up bolts. Yeah, that's a really good start. Turn 2, Ren and 6. Start bringing back their lands. They're never going to miss the land drop. They're just going to Ren and 6 till the end of the game. Another land, so yeah, definitely doing better on lands. Now we're up to 4, so we can do fires. And they're over there making the land drops. Not doing too much else besides just making the land drops. Alright, still drawing lands, so good on lands now, but yep, he's still not doing much over there besides making land drops. Go and get a basic island here so we can cast this charm to draw 2 cards. And there's kind of debate out a counterspell, but it didn't work. So, gonna try. I mean, some of these, you can see it's not the typical control deck. Some of these control decks don't run as many counters. So, gonna try to, and have a second fire, so just gonna try to play that out there. And yeah, they hardcast force. Okay, so gonna just get this search out. I could try to do another fire, try to bait another counter, but I would like to try to double spell here, get the search out, and have this charm open to try to draw out some more cards. Okay, so now they got a tome, so they can actually triome, so they can actually start drawing some cards with Brennan 6 instead of just making land drops. Can actually start getting cards. Alright, so Omnath, that's gonna be worth it to counter. That gets out of hand real fast. He hasn't made their land, they haven't made their land drop for their turn, so they can still play the land drop, make a bunch of mana, and yeah, it's just better on the cards. I should counter it now. I do like setting up myself, but I need to stop him from killing me. Alright, so prismatic endings my Escanta. Kind of sad about that. If this Renin 6 emblems, I lose. Like I cannot beat a Renin 6 emblem. Him being able to force a negation every turn, like that, I can't beat that. So, I start to think of the lines. I can play fire, but right now, like I have enough mana to play my spell plus the bolts, so it doesn't really make much sense to actually play out the fires. Yeah, I don't really have any extra turning things or things that really utilize the enchantment, so just going to bolt it first, see if the merits a counter, because I have the second bolt ready. It doesn't, so now I go ahead and play out the Jace, keeping the steam vents open for another bolts. I actually like all the cards in my hands, so I don't really want to brainstorm just to put him back on top and draw him later, like dig one card deeper. I'd rather try to look at his deck, try to get some more information, maybe manipulate his draw. Teferi actually is not too bad right now for me, so I would rather him draw that. Than, some actual threat. Teferi, I guess, could minus and draw him a threat, so, but at least he's spending his mana to do that. Alright, so he minuses to draw the card. Still making his land drops. Okay, so now I drew a lands. I'm gonna hold that for the Jace, and then I'm gonna try this fires. Yeah, they are another kind of spot for that, so go ahead and do this brainstorm. I don't really want the bolt right now, and I mean, I'm gonna play the Serum Visions to draw that land back, and then now I can put that bolt on the bottom, and put the fires in my hands with the Serum Visions. So keep that on top so I can draw with the Serum Visions. I don't want a second Row, and I'm kind of good on land, so put both those on the bottom. Express Iteration, another Teferi. He's still making all of his land drop. He's got a lot of cards in hands. He ends up not playing the Teferi off of the Express iteration, just leaves it in exile. Going to Brainstorm with Jace, puts one of these Narsets and the fetch land. I do like to, fetch land shuffling away the Narset, but I'm going to draw it and shuffle it away anyway, so I don't really need the land for the turn. Going to try to play another Fires, which gets answered by another hard cast Force Negation. So hopefully I can start running him out of counters or something. I do have, it's not that far into the game yet as far as time. I am ahead on time, but he goes and draws a card, so my Narset actually gets to resolve. Go ahead and use it. I already know at least there's a Narset there that I put back on top with the Brainstorm effect, and I'll go and grab the Search for Iskanta. Alright, he's actually dealing quite a bit of damage to himself here with all of his fetching, so that's at least a good part. Like, the Ren and 6, turn 2, never missing land drop, does hurt your life total quite a bit, and getting to counter that Omnath really stops him from getting back that life. Alright, so yeah, he tries to Cycle the Triumph, forgetting about Narset. Kind of wasting the turn there, so that's good. Go and Brainstorm with Chase, putting, I just not really wanted to search right now, so put that on top. And then I go and just play out this Ral, probably, and it actually resolves, so maybe I'm finally running him out on counter magic, or maybe it just doesn't seem as a threat worth countering. But again, Ren and 6, I can't let it emblem. That just wins the game. So vault it down to 4, and then go and ping the Teferi to prevent it from drawing another card. Even though I wouldn't draw a card with Narset, but I don't want him to deal with the Narset with the Ren and 6 and then draw a card. So at this point, I did shock that in because I had the idea to save up my mana for Charm, but I ended up just getting the Search and then scrying, putting down a bottom, and playing out the Search. Right, he plays a Solitude as just a 3/2. I mean, there's no creatures in the deck. One of the good things about that is cards like Solitude, it's now just a 5 mana 3/2 with no other text. Because I do not play any creatures. Does Ren and 6 down the Narset, and he's just not afraid of this Ral, so he's going out to the Jace, which is kind of strange, and then plays out another Ren 6, deals another point damage, and then plays out another Ren 6, so I guess he was just drawing a lot of Ren 6s, and then he ends up finishing off the Jace. And then, yeah, I actually press fast forward there, but drew flip this Iskanta, playing the Time Warp, or minusing Ral, playing the Time Warp, making a copy of it so I get 2 extra turns. Also dealing him points of damage. He is at a pretty low life total. Solitude does help him gain back some of that life, so he's a little bit, he did go back up to 11. So he counters here. I could use this Charm to counter his counter spell, but I still have the original Time Warp anyway. Time Warp. Just go ahead and save that to draw the extra cards. And then I'm kind of watching the clock here. I still have 17 minutes. He still got 14. Still played good, but I accidentally clicked through here, and I don't Kanta or Charm or anything else with my mana. So that was definitely a waste of a turn there, or waste of that mana. Draw the Nexus of Fate, which is good. It's another time walk effect. Gonna get to minus Ral again. Try to take another 2 turns, because this next turn I'll be able to plus up Ral and then minus Ral for this Nexus. So the game's just gone on long enough that I'm just kind of doing the turns thing without the fires making the best use of my mana, but I still just have enough mana that it's kind of working. And he ends up conceding here, so that's good. He's probably cautious of the clock as well, and this is not deterministic, but definitely pretty good spot to be with that, with only needing to cast 8 more spells. Not even necessarily time-taking turn spells, but even just like a bolt would be. I mean, a bolt, copying a bolt right there, lightning bolt would almost kill him. So yeah, it's 7 damage for copying a lightning bolt. Or actually, no, that's 8 because each bolt would be 4. So yeah, he was in bolt range. So yeah, he concedes for more time for games 2 and 3. Game 2 against 4-color Yorion, or 4-color Omnath. I took out the Fire and Ices. I took out the 2 Escantas, and 1 Bolts. I did put in 2 Blood Moons. This isn't quite a matchup where I think all 4 Blood Moons are worth it, because they do have a lot of answers to Blood Moon. They play enough basics. They play Teferi in different ways. If they can get a Teferi up before the Blood Moon, they can bounce the Blood Moon. So they do play some answers, some fetches to get the basics, to where it doesn't exactly hose them. But it is good to have, 1 or 2 to kind of keep them on the toes. Maybe make them make some fetch decisions. Search up a basic lands over a duel, in knowing and seeing at least 1 of them. So put 2 of those in, and then just putting in the Izzet Charms for counter magic, and I mean potentially dealing 2 damage to a Planeswalker. Not a good hand. No turn 1 play, no turn 2 play. Hoping to draw a land for a turn 3 play against a more controlled deck. So yeah, mulligan that. Much better hands. Can put Nexus on bottom because it's 7-drop, and then I have turn 1 Serum Visions to hopefully find some, good cards. Charm to try to draw or counter some of their things. So yeah, keep that 6 cards. And they end up mulliganing down to 5 cards on the play. Start with the Flight of Strain. Blood Moon's a good draw here. I draw another basic, so I'm definitely good on basics. But both these Steam Vents on bottom, I'm actually good on lands. I just need to search up a red mana with Taking Turns, and I can cast this Blood Moon and be good. Alright, they don't search up the basic to honor the Blood Moon, so that's good for me. And then they play another dual land. Izzet Charms is another good draw. That's a good counter magic. Keep up to protect my Blood Moon. They do play basic planes here, so that is 1 bit closer to playing their removal spells against Blood Moon. And then I accidentally click through and don't search with the Taking Turns, and I draw my third steam vents after already putting 2 of them on bottom. So I just play at the basic here, and then now I have to, with him having the mana open, and with me making that mistake there, I don't really want to shock in, just kind of pass the turn there. He's not holding the double blue though, so he's not holding the counter magic, so at this point I just go and get more islands, try to bait out the counter with the charm, to try to make this Blood Moon more likely to resolve. And yeah, that does bait out the counter. It's a Mystic Dispute. So that definitely would have countered the Blood Moon. I go and shock in now and play the Blood Moon out. And with only 4 cards in hands, a Force of Negation on a Blood Moon, pretty good for me. He pitches his counterspell, and now he's down to 2 cards. So and he's still stuck on 3 lands after rolling down to 5. I'm going to play our Rally here. I don't have too much going on, but still okay shape. Fires is good, leave that on top. I probably should have fetched before I did that, before I scried, but it doesn't really matter. He's just not drawing what he needs. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It happens to us. It happens to other people too. He mulliganed down to 5 and just couldn't draw more lands or the right colors, or I don't know exactly what he was missing. But alright, we ended up getting match 4, so 2-2 in this league. Better than expected. 5th and final match of the league. We lost a die roll again. So, entire league, lost all 5 die rolls. Yeah. Alright, so we're on the draw again. Like we've been every game. Every first game. Good hands. It's another lowest deck, so not sure which one. Got a turn 2 Search, turn 3 Narset, got some lands that fetch to thin. A little bit heavy on lands, but hopefully Search will get us through any more lands we may get. Except for there's a turn 1 Inquisition, so there goes our Search for Escanta. And there goes a Bobbled CO tap card. So they know about our Time Warp. Play at the Steam Vents taps. I could play one of the fetch lands to try thin. Maybe it would have been better, but I don't know. Come on, I just want to get the red mana out there. And again, turn 2 Brennan 6 is really good at make sure you always get your land drops. I'm going to play at the fetch now. Oh. Right, Termagloif's not too big right now, but yeah, he's going to get big. Not really worried about getting basics at this point. I mean, I'm not going to spend the mana, so just gonna come play tap Steam Vents. Get another fetch land, get to try to thin my deck some more. This time I'm going to get basics, so I don't have to take 2 to play this Narset. Hopefully maybe just to soak up some, like, get a card here, soak up some damage, go and get the Ral. Maybe he'll attack the Narset instead of me, which would be good. dealing a lot of damage himself between these shocks and this fetches. Attacks in. Yeah, he kills a Narset, makes his Tomoglyph bigger. Narset did its job of fogging a turn, essentially. And you got Mirror Ral. Alright. They played 2 more creatures, another Tomoglyph, and another Rage Chandler. So I could be dead next turn. The 2 Tomoglyphs is 10. Rage Chandler, he gets Delirium, would be 13. Renin 6, 14. And then like a Bolt plus enchantment going to the graveyard. Actually, the enchantment going to the graveyard makes these Tomoglyphs big, so yeah, that's a lot of damage looking at next turn. And I don't have a lot this turn that I can do, so I just play out the fires. And then I use this Jace Mirror Mage maybe as a damage soaker, but most likely if he can kill me, he's going to kill me. So go and Scribe, maybe set up if I do get another turn. Hopefully make it a good one. So put Charm on top, put a land on bottom. Alright, there's the Shadow Sphere. There's a dashed in Regavan. So it is a lot of damage. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. But yeah, it looks like it's only going to be 17. So if he has a bolt in hands, I'm dead. But as I see this 5 damage from the Glyph goes towards my Jace, pretty good sign that he doesn't have the bolt in hand. So I am not dead this turn. And then he pluses up the Renin 6. Alright, so good. Another time. So this is a pretty good hand right here. Yeah, I set to tap mana. I forget mana, you don't need it. Fires. Just play things through fires. Minus there. So I don't have anything to use my mana with right now, which is why I'm just going to go ahead and save it a moment. Taking the extra turn that doesn't untap, use it first, and then later, hopefully I can draw into some, like Azcanta or Castle or something that will use my mana, and then that's when I'll use the Time Warp. So play that, take 2 extra turns. Again, I don't really want to fetch. I could just go get the basic, but I don't want to fetch and get a shock because it won't untap. So I do get the Azcanta. Go ahead and scry. And now that I scried, I can't really fetch because I want to keep that Jace on top. So end up just playing my land, try and get up to 7 mana in case I get Nexus. So I do want to make sure I keep making my land drops. This Search of Azcanta will be my 7th land. I only have 6 cards in graveyard though. Again, really should have sacked that Scalding Tarns. And yeah, keep Jace on top. Already knew it was there. Go to minus Ral again so I can Time Warp. And then sends one of this, or actually just, at this point I don't even care about Ren 6, I'm just dealing all the damage towards him. Ren 6 can alt or emblem next turn, but I'm not really afraid of anything he can do with the emblem, and I'm just trying to kill him. So play Jace, Brainstorm. It's good Brainstorm, I get to put those 2 on bottom, and since I've been holding this turn this whole time, now I actually get to crack it and shuffle those 2 cards away. So that was my plan all along. Just get the basic land because I'm going to save her and it's not going to untap. So I'm going to do that next turn. So Castle, I mean, I'm already going to have Azcanta. Azcanta is just better than the Castle, so I'll put that in graveyard. Go and scry, keep that on top. Yeah, play double Jace, double Mirror Jace. Scry both those to the bottom after I put them on top with the Jace. Yeah, Jason Mind Sculptor plus Jason Mirror. Like I can Brainstorm, put 2 cards on top, use one of the Jaces to put 2 cards on bottom, and then I get a fresh look at 2 new cards. And then I get to draw, deal point of damage. and then Scanta, grab another time taking effect. So I get a lot of scries. Ral is just every other turn. I'm getting to take 2 turns, as long as I can find one of my extra turn taking things, which I have a lot. I already have 1 backup in hand, and I have a lot of ways to draw and find them. And then, so Ral actually with the bolts, he's almost in that range where I can just minus Ral and bolts and kill him. So, actually, I've already minus Ral this turn, so I can't do it this turn. But I can just, play some more spells, keep pinging it as life total. He's not going to concede, he's just letting me use up my clock here and get more time taking effects. At this point, I have enough that I can play him without, and there's another one, so I have enough that I can just start playing him without even worry about copying him, just to deal the point damage and use up my spells. So yeah, just scrying more. Don't minus Ral here. I mean, there's no point to do it right now. I have so many extra turn things. I can just wait and do it next turn. So just play some more spells, do some more damage, tutor through the library. Like, it's just going through motions. It's deterministic. Like, I got this game, so hard to mess up at this point. So trying my best, not to mess up. Just taking some extra steps. Going in, yeah. Minus, make the copy, bolts, triggers, deal 8 damage, and yeah, he does end up conceding. He doesn't actually let bolt kill him. So yeah, actually end up getting game 1, turn 11. Modern's a turn 11 format here. No, definitely would have been dead if he got another turn. A lot of damage there. Ren in 6, embleming, and everything. So, alright, got game 1. So we got game 1 against Jund Loros. Game 2, I put in 2 of the Blood Moons. Blood Moon seems really good. It's really good against the Sagas, just being able to kill them, and then it also really makes Brennan 6 a lot less good when you can't just like fetch and bring the lands back and all that. So put in 2 of them, but don't want to. They do play red cards, so don't really want to saturate too much with Blood Moons. Did put in the bolts, and then took out the search for the Scantas and the Narsets. Narsets aren't too great in this. They maybe get 1 activation and they just die. Just not as good as the Blood Moons and the bolts that I put in. And put in the Karametra as well. This kind of matchup just seems like a good thing to try to, deal lots of damage. Alright, so terrible opener hands, not even worth considering. 1 land, canning cast the 1 drop from the 1 land, so better hand, not great, but at least it's pretty resilient against Inquisition, and doesn't hurt too much to Thoughtseize because I'm not casting any of these anytime soon anyway. So we'll keep him, put 1 land on bottom, and there's Inquisition, so that's good. They get to look at our hand. Alright, I could play that fetch. That just kind of gives them information because they already know the rest of my hand, so I just play the come play tap land. I don't want to give them any extra information. And there's a turn to Ren in 6. At this point, I'll go and play the Tarn. I just want to be able to thin the deck of lands. Alright, there's a Saga. Chandler. Shadowsphere. I'll just go to basic at this point. I did put Blood Moon in the deck, so now it's actually relevant to try to search up some basics, and I already have the one red that I need. So I got a bolt, that's good. I can bolt the Chandler, but I could also actually Archmage and steal the Chandler. So if he goes to equip the Shadow Sphere, I can let him resolve that equipped, and then before attackers, I can actually steal his Chandler, and then I'll have the equipment, and it'll have Trample and Lifelink. It will have Trample and Lifelink, and I'll control it, so I could start swinging in and getting 2 life. He will be able to move the Shadow Sphere to another creature if he gets another creature. He can't just unequip it though. So, alright, he has a Thoughtseize. I couldn't respond to that. As I said, I want to wait until he equips the Shadow Sphere to steal it. So, don't really want to bolt it. I again would rather wait for him to equip. So I just let him have the Thoughtseize. No responses. He does take the fires. That was surprising. But I guess after seeing how the deck actually functions game 1, maybe you do just want to take the fires. He's actually got himself down to 10, and he is not going to equip the Shadow Sphere. So, I mean, it's only 1 point damage. I just take it, go to 18, and then I want to try to draw some cards here. I want to try to get some some spells. Okay, Jace is a good one, and Ral is also a good one. So if I play the Ral here and plus it up, he goes to 6 counters. He's got Chandler. If he gets Stellium, that's 3. He's going to make a Saga, which is going to be a 2/2, and then he's going to make it a 3/3 when he searches for an artifact, and he could make it a 4/4 if he gets another. So 4, if he attacks everything at Rao, he can kill Rao, but then he's taking 6. I'm preventing 6 damage to myself, so I'm willing to throw Rao out there, soak up some damage. Go and scry the land to the bottom. Don't really need it. Alright, so there's the construct token. There's the second construct token, and he gets a Pipe Needle naming the Rao. So now he doesn't even have to worry about killing it, and he can just attack me. He brings back the Saga. Again, this is where I'd like to have the Blood Moon stop him from doing a lot of this that he's doing. He would still be able to play the Chandler, still be able to play the Regavan, equip Shadow Sphere, and some of those other spells, but it would definitely make this Renin 6 a lot less scary. Alright, so doesn't attack the Rao. I mean, the Pipe Needle prevents it from doing it. Its copying thing. Attacks me, gets rid of my castle with Regavan. I was thinking about returning his token to his hand and then bolting the other token, but because he made that token with Regavan, his token's actually going to be big enough to live through that. So I'm going to play out the Jace. Or no, I'm going to take an extra turn, that's right. I mean, it's just a free point of damage. I get to draw another card. Not a bad spell. So almost like an Explorer, but I also get to do 1 damage to the Renin 6. Now at this point, I get to play at the Jace, bounce the token, and then I don't actually get to bolt the other token because it's too big. So alright, I am at 11. I don't know if he can make 11 points of damage. I mean, he still needs to draw a bolt. Bolt would definitely help him. Renin 6 back up to 7. Okay, so he's just attacking at 5, and he's attacking drawing me, not even dashing the Regavan, so that's a little weird. I mean, I do have the bolt ready for the Regavan, and he's just going to make a token to make it 1 more point of damage. Not actually that scary, considering my Jace is still alive, and I guess my hand's not too great. But yeah, he does have the Unholy Heat, so that's why he didn't attack Jace. I still don't know why. I guess he was 1 mana shy of. No, he could have sacked the token, so I don't know why he didn't dash in the Reg Van. I don't know what he's holding. Or equip the Shadow Sphere to the Construct. Gain some extra life. I don't know. I don't know what he's holding, what he's afraid of, but with him only at 7 and this Ral, we're going to bolt him here to put him down to 3. So I have a few draws to try to draw some spells. All I need to do is play 3 spells, and I kill him with Ral or bolts. And I got a Mikakoro to try to help me draw one of those things. So Visions is a good start to help me get to 3 spells, or I mean, it's a 1 mana spell, so going to get him down to 2. I mean, even like a Time Warp or something too would help me, because I get another churn, another chance to draw, and only we need 1 more spell. And then actually draw the bolts off the Visions, so this scry doesn't actually matter. Don't really actually care about either of those cards. All I care about is this bolt that I drew. And bolt him, deal the extra 1, and end up winning this match 2-0 against Juns. Loros Juns. So that's kind of not expected. I guess a lot of their hate, they don't have a lot of hate for this deck, so just a lot of dead cards. Ended up 3-2 in the league, so definitely not bad for this deck. I do see, I don't know, I do like the deck. I don't know how it shapes in this meta. I think some of these like hammer decks are just going to be too fast for it. It does have some good early interaction though to try to deal with the hammer. And then just the control matchup's not too great either, but I mean, it beat the one Omnav control style deck, so I don't know. Thank you all for watching. If you like it, thumbs up, subscribe, leave me comments what your take on the deck is, and see you all next time.